everybody. Welcome back to the For the Gambia podcast. I'm your host, Ceesay Ndiaye. I'm here with my friend, Maury Thomas. We are live in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're here with our sister, our neighbor, somebody who is back on our podcast for the second time. She was here when we did the roundtable with the likes of Pasamba Joe, Omar An, and Makam So. So she's back here today. This one is going to be a little different from that. We're going to be talking to her about a journey that she had to go through. She's going to explain how that happened and everything that was involved in it. So without further ado, I will go ahead and introduce my sister and my friend, my neighbor, Mrs. Ceesay Ndiaye. Ida, welcome to the For the Gambia podcast.
Thank
Once
you.
again.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great. So before we get in, just tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, back home, schools you've attended, childhood, just anything you can remember.
Whew, it's going to be long. I'm kidding. My name is Ida Ceesay, and I actually was raised in Banjul. I was born in Norway, and my parents came home, so I was raised in Banjul. My parents are still over there. I went to Mrs. Ndao and then Gambia High School. Graduated in '96. Came here, and you can, of course, guess how long I've been here. Yes. It's a very long time, yes. But it's been a very interesting journey. I started off going to Wake Tech, then I decided to transfer. I went to Australia University, did undergrad, did grad school there too. Of course, in between there's a husband, children, a set of twins, life, and everything else. So it's been a journey so far.
No, that's great. So we will just get right into it. The reason why we're talking to Ida today, like I said in the beginning, about a journey that she had to go through, which was she had to fight breast cancer, which is something that is very prevalent now in our society. If I say our society, I'm talking about the Senegambian society now.
Absolutely.
Both here in the States, Europe, Gambia, Senegal, all over the world. And she's going to be talking about it, and more so about awareness, just so that the folks out there can learn from it. Those who have gone through it already will know. Unfortunately, we will have a lot more of our sisters, our moms, who will be going through it.
That's right.
So that's what she's here for, to talk to us about. So we will just let her go ahead and begin and tell us her journey, how did it all begin, and where she is now.
That's also a very long one. So I got my diagnosis July 19th, 2013. And when I got it, just like most women would tell you, I didn't know that's what it was. I felt a lump on my breast, and I didn't take it seriously. I have a friend of mine who I always call her my saving grace, because she's the one who pushed for me to go get tested and also try to figure out what was going on. So like most people in the United States, I had just transitioned from one employment to another, and my insurance had not kicked in. And I'm sharing this story because I want people to know that it doesn't matter where you are, you can still get the treatment you need and the help you need. So I had just transitioned from one job to another. My insurance was not supposed to kick in till September 1st. So I was telling my friend who's in the medical field that, I felt a cyst. I felt something. I wasn't sure what it was. She felt it, and she was like, well, it doesn't feel like it's fluid. So let me just figure out, let's just figure it out. So she asked the doctor that she works for, and he decided that he was going to do the biopsy for me. This was on a Wednesday. We went over there, got it done. Friday, she calls me, and she said, I'm on my way to your office. We need to talk. And instantly, because, like I said, she does come by often, yes, but that was just the very day that it was just unusual for her to come by. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she came to the office and we called the doctor, and honestly, the only thing I heard was, it's cancer. Mm. That's all I heard. I didn't hear anything else. Like I said, my saving grace is the one who took notes, talked to the doctor, figured out what to do, and all of that. I left there. I came home, and she had called my husband and told him what happened, and I decided I was going to drive myself. I know it wasn't a smart decision to drive, but I just needed that quiet time in the car by myself. And
so your husband knew before you telling him?
No, after I found out, my girlfriend called him and told him what the news was. He was home, and so I drove here, and when I got home, he was standing at the door, and he said, "It is going to be okay." And I think the drive from my job to here was my enlightenment, if you can say that.
Mm-hmm.
I cried the whole time driving over here, and when I got here, you see your children, my kids ran outside. "Mommy, why are you crying?" I said, "I'm going to be okay." And that was the end of my crying, I have to say. And I decided that from that day that I'm going to fight it. It is not my time to go nowhere.
Yes.
So we're going to fight this. I didn't know how, but I knew I was going to fight it. My girlfriend spent the rest of the weekend calling organizations, trying to figure out who was going to get me covered or how I was going to get covered. She called the American Cancer Society. She called any organization that you could think. She called Susan G. Komen. She called every organization there was. She called. She brought me list of stuff.
And that's because your insurance did not kick in yet.
And I was not going to get covered.
Right.
I was not going to go through the treatment because I didn't know how to pay for it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I called, an oncologist and said, "Do you have insurance?" I said, "No." She said, "I'm sorry, you cannot pay for the treatment." And she's right. Nobody can afford to pay for the treatment. Anyway, back to my saving grace. Her name is Felida, by the way. She found Rex Hospital. And they have a program called Cancer Cares, I think is what they call it. And for some odd reason, she figured out a way to talk to whoever it was over there. And I got my cancer treatments covered 100%. I walk around with the letter in my purse when they send me that letter to say I was covered 100% because I want people to know that it does happen. And I will show you the letter in a little bit. But I was covered 100%. Well, in the meantime of us doing all of that and trying to find that, this was July 19, I got the treatment. I went for my EKG on the 28th of July. And then 28th of July, I had the EKG. On the 29th, I went in and had the port installed. And then on the 30th, they did another biopsy. The crazy part about that biopsy was when I did it on the 19th, it was a stage 2. When they did it on the 30th, it was a stage 3. So you can only imagine had I waited till September, it would be a totally different story.
Yes.
So instead of the normal procedures for cancer diagnosis is they remove the mass, then you go through chemo. Mine was so aggressive, so I had it's called an intrusive carcinoma. I think it's the name of it, if I can get the lingo right. It went from a 2 to a 3. So when they did that biopsy on the 30th, the doctor was like, "We have to start chemo the next day." So on August 1st, I started chemo, and this went on for 10 weeks, every 12 days.
Now, what I want us to focus on now, because your story, we can sit here the whole day and learn from it. Take us back to after hearing the news that you have cancer. Coming back home, meeting your husband at the door and your kids. What was the atmosphere like the first week at the house? What was the support like? And what was the conversation centered on?
You have to know my husband to know that he is sometimes we argue about this. I'm like, really, can you just say, okay, it's going to be okay? But he's a very faithful, and he's a very supportive, and he takes his faith seriously. He said to me, "We're going to fight this. It is going to be okay." He didn't bring you this far to let you go.
Wow.
And I break down, and I cry, and he's like, "You're going to be okay." He said, "Whatever it takes, we will do it, and you will be okay." And on top of that, my friend that I told you, I also have some guardian angels that I call them my girlfriends, who from the minute I told them what happened, and I'm trying so hard not to cry because I don't have any sisters. They're the only ones I have. And each and every one of them stepped up more than I can ever imagine.
That's right.
There was not a single chemo, and I told you it went on for 10 weeks. No, I'm sorry, it went on for 6 months. It went on for 6 months, twice a month. And every single one of my girlfriends went to me at a chemo session. And these sessions take 5-6 hours.
Yes.
They sat there with me the whole time. They brought food. We even had Eva in there, and we would sit there and we laugh, and they rotated. They knew my schedule and they rotated. I would come home and they would cook, they would call, they sent flowers. I mean, I cannot tell you the amount of support. You would have thought they were the ones going through it. When I lost my hair, some of them said, okay, we'll shave our hair. I said, oh no, we're not all going to be bald around here. That's not going to work. That is not going to work. But these girls are, and I can sit and name them, and I know they'll scold me for naming them, but if you know my circle and you know my friends, you understand why I love them so much, because they are phenomenal. Some of them don't live here. They will travel to be here on chemo day. So, and it could have been worse because I could have hid it from them. I didn't have to tell them. But they were my support system. And no matter how it was, some days I would be so nauseous. One of them would pick me up and go to lunch. I would be so nauseous I could barely eat. They'll walk me to the bathroom. I would throw up. We come back and we eat again. Wow. So it's just, my case would be what you call the best case scenario, because I had the support and the love that I could not even imagine. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just absolutely. Like they say, you know your true friends.
Yes,
when
you do.
You are going through something.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And they're unwavering. All of them are. They're
and I'm sure
absolutely
you've learned a lot about them and about your spouse also.
Absolutely.
Because he also could have acted differently.
And I don't like to talk about him, but he was mom and dad. Let's just say that. Right. He was mom and dad. There's nothing skipped a beat in this house. He was mom and dad the whole time. It doesn't matter what it was. He was always there.
How did the kids take it?
Children are very resilient. They really are, and they know what's going on. My kids understood from the first day that something was wrong. They were 5 years old. They understood something was wrong. My son is, how boys are very, you could not gauge him very well. I always say he takes after his dad.
Yeah, they don't show emotions.
No, they don't. No, they don't. My daughter, on the other hand, knew it was time to take meds. It was, mommy needs some water. I'll get her to go to the bathroom. She was there. I mean, she's 5 years old. And she knew, and she would tell everybody. I remember one day I said I was going to walk them to the bus stop. And the bus stop is right there. And I walked out. And normally in the morning I'll cover my head. But that day I just didn't have the time. And somebody at the bus stop laughed and said that your mommy's bald. And this little girl went into fight mode. And she said, my mommy is not bald. My mommy is sick. And she's going through something, that's why. But she is very beautiful the way she is. Yes. And I couldn't say anything. She fought the battle. I didn't have nothing to say. And she, she even said, Mommy, I want to shave my head. I said, no, we're not doing that. But kids are, and they're a reason for you to smile. Yes. And they're a reason to keep going, because you know that you're fighting for them. And they're very resilient. We take our kids for granted, and we're hallelujah. You know what I mean? Like, they're kids, but they don't understand. They absolutely understand. Yeah. They absolutely understand.
So what has been your approach now towards life, now that you've gone through this? And, I'm sure you don't take life for granted now like we do.
No. And
I'm sure you don't even take your kids for granted right now.
No, I will punch you if I see you taking life for granted.
Exactly.
You can't. You can't. It has, like I said, it's been an eye-opening experience, but nothing makes me mad anymore. Because
it's a total transformation.
It is. And it sounds so cliche to say it, But life is so, what we fight about and what we argue about is different.
Yes.
My enlightenment came, I was having surgery. This is after chemo, and they said, okay, we're gonna do surgery. And the doctor said to me, well, he's the what we can do. We can have, a lumpectomy where they just take the lump out. At this point, after chemo, it has shrunk to very small.
Yes.
So they say their options are you can do a lumpectomy, you can do a mastectomy in one breast, or you can take them both out. I said, I don't care, take them both out. And everybody looked at me
Why
like,
would you choose that?
why would you do that? I have a reason for it. I read a lot, and if you have breast cancer, it's one of those that has a 60% chance of coming back.
Yes.
I'm not going through that again.
Yes.
And if that's all it is just boobs, I'm sorry, I'm being very technical, it's gotta go.
Yes.
Because that was not an easy road.
So
And
it's a risk that you took.
Yes. I am not going to subject my family or myself to go through that again. So I decided I'm going to take it all off, and I did.
Did you had any consultation with your husband about this?
I did, and he again supported me all the way. He said, "I agree."
That's great.
He said, "Whatever you decide, I'm behind you 100%." And I decided to have a double mastectomy. The good part about having insurance that covers everything, they also paid for reconstruction.
Okay.
Great.
So, which was really, really, really awesome. And so, alhamdulillah, it's, so far it's been good. I can't tell you there hasn't been complications.
Of course.
Because everybody knows when you go through cancer, you can beat it. They tell you, okay, you're cancer free.
Yeah.
But then most people don't realize that's not the end of the journey.
Yes.
Things happen after that. And it's been a 4-year battle after that, one thing after another. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I showed you my medical history, you'd be like, why are you still alive?
Yes.
But it's a journey that goes with it. Things change. You change. Your body changes. Things happen to you. So it's again, there are different stages and things matter. Like I was saying, when I was on that bed, they're about to wheel you into the operation room. Nothing matters but you and God.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing matters. At that point in time, you're having a conversation with yourself
Yes.
and God. I am begging you, please make me get up from here today. And if I do, you start bugging.
Yeah.
I would do this, I would do this, I would do this, I would not do this. No, I'm telling you, and I laugh about it today, and I'm like, I'm sure God was sitting there going, are you really bargaining with me right now?
I just need this one chance.
This is one chance.
This is one
I
chance.
promise you, I will not get mad again. I promise you, I will not do this. I promise. And and of course, when they put the IVs in and you just pass out.
Yes.
When you wake up and you go, whoo, I'm so glad you listened to me today, and I promise I'm going to keep my promise.
I hope you're keeping that promise.
I did. I am
Good.
keeping the promise. Like I said, I don't get mad. Little things don't matter to me anymore. What is bothering people, things that people take so seriously, I'm like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, because as the saying goes, sometimes the things people cherish most has no true value.
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
You cannot,
Absolutely not.
You went through a total transformation of life going through that. But coming back to the issue, how was the chemo like, the treatment, and coming back to the main community that we lived in, other than your immediate family, your husband, your kids, and of course your family members, when friends were told of your story, what was the reaction?
My immediate friends?
Yes.
See, my family was in fight mode also. I have all brothers. I don't have any sisters, like I said. All my brothers rallied around me.
Mm.
Like they were, Lord, they needed to back away sometimes because they were so overly protective.
Mm-hmm.
My group of girlfriends and people that I'm close with also went into fight mode. They took charge and they supported to a point where I had to tell them it's okay. Outside of that circle, the community that we lived in, some people found out, they called. And some of them were scared to call, and I understand it. And because when somebody's sick, it's hard to even find something to
Especially
say.
the word cancer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, if you know anything about my personality, I would laugh and joke about everything. When they call me, they go, "Okay, I called you to say I'm sorry, but you are in such a good spirit that I don't even know what to say." But that was the best way to do it. the community, I have to say, I have lived amongst some really, really good Gambians, I have to say, and Senegalese, because the few that found out, that called and supported and checked on me, it didn't even matter. Some of them were Texas. Some people I didn't even know. Some people saw my husband and asked how I'm doing, and the prayers. I really, really appreciated the prayers, because some of them, true, have nothing to give you or nothing that can say to suit you, but they prayed. And for that, I'm so appreciative. Until now, I see some of them, they give me a hug. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I'm doing much better. And I have to say, no matter what, some people would like to say, I don't want to hang out around Gambians, or I don't want to associate with Gambians. They're really good people.
Mm-hmm.
They're really, really
Most
good
Gambians
people.
are good people.
They're good people.
Yes.
They're really good people. And even if they don't know how to come up to you, they will pray for you. And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need. A smile and a joke and how are you doing goes a long way. It goes a really long way.
Yeah, I mean, just like we talked about, breast cancer is something that is ravaging our community.
Yes.
I mean, it's not just breast cancer, like all the cancers
All
right
cancers.
now.
All
I mean,
cancers.
and breast cancer, just for people to know, I mean, what they say out there is you should wait until you're 40 in order to get a mammogram, and all of these kind of things, But us, black people, the prevalence of us getting it is much higher, and the mortality rate is very, very high among us
Than other races.
Well,
So
I mean,
it's
I was 33 years old.
33 years old, and there are some people who are in their 20s,
Absolutely.
who are having breast
Absolutely.
cancers.
Absolutely. I saw the youngest person I ever saw was a 16-year-old girl.
Yes.
She was 16 years old, and that was her second bout with cancer.
Wow.
She had it the first time. She removed the one, and then it came back. She's 16 years old.
Wow. So, I mean,
there's a lot of takeaway hearing your story. Like before we start the show, I was telling you that, and if you can share this with the people watching or listening back home, maybe they might have a friend, have a family member, or even themselves battling it. What was it like, and what advice would you give to somebody right now watching or listening, going through cancer?
Reach out to people.
yes.
You cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. Some people.
What steps would you advise? How?
Well, the first thing you have to do is accept that it is something that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fix it.
Not be in denial.
You cannot be in denial that it is happening. And cancer, unfortunately, is one of those things that can spread like wildfire.
Mm-hmm.
When it happens, follow everything the doctor says to the T. That doesn't mean you should lose faith, because it's medicine. They're practicing medicine. It's not perfected yet. So you have to follow what the doctor says, but you also have to take care of yourself. I was explaining to you that the first time I went and met the oncologist, you meet a nutritionist, you meet an oncologist, and then you meet a home care nurse, and they give you all kinds of people who give you all kinds of information. The most surprising thing to me was I met the nutritionist, and she gave me a list of things to eat, what to do and what not to do. The most interesting part of that is she says, do you drink milk? I say, yes. Sometimes, not a lot. She said, buy organic. Do you eat fruits? I said, yes, I love fruits. I eat a lot. She said, if you buy berries, buy organic. And I'm thinking, okay, if the doctor is telling me to buy organic, if they're telling you these are the things you should and shouldn't do, why isn't the public privy to this information?
Before.
So you knew about all of these things after you were sick.
Nobody ever told me nay nothing.
Wow.
I found out after I was sick. Berries, for instance, strawberries, blueberries, all the berries there is.
Yeah.
They're very sweet. They have the highest content of pesticides, whether we realize it or not. Yes, you can wash them, but that doesn't take
it away.
Doesn't take it away. I don't know what it does. I'm not a healthcare professional by any point. Don't do that. I don't know what it does. I'm not a medical professional at all by any means. but there's something to taking care of yourself.
To prevent.
Not to prevent, but to just make it easier on yourself. You know, when we get sick, we start thinking a lot. We don't eat. We lose weight. I never lost weight. I would throw up, wash my mouth, and go eat. Because I didn't want to lose weight. And I didn't want anybody to see me and say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't want that. I wanted everybody to see me as a fighter and somebody who is going to do this. Mm-hmm. Because it's so easy to just fall back and hide and so on. I lost all my hair. I never once wore a wig. I walked around bald-headed. If it was too hot or too cold, I put a scarf on my head. And that didn't last long because it gave me a headache. And everybody who asked, I'm like, yes, this is the reason why. And you'd be surprised as to the number of people who come up to you and say, I know this person who's going through this. My sister went through this. My aunt is going through this. It's amazing how that happens.
So you voluntarily put a face to it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Gambian functions. I've gone to Gambian functions bald-headed. And I still got the looks and the stares. And I had some people call me right afterwards. What is wrong with you? Why are you even coming? You guys need to see it. Yeah, even my husband at some point was like, okay, maybe you shouldn't go. I said, I'm going. Wow. Because they need to see it. They need to know it is something that can happen to everybody. Everybody. I didn't do anything wrong to get it. Yep. Nobody else who has it can do anything else. That's right. And also, I found out that just by doing that, again, like I said, you have to know my personality to know Lord, sometimes I even worry myself. But it's, if you tell me, oh, I have a sister or I have a friend or something, here's my phone number, give them my phone number and call me. I talk to more people and I don't even know them. But not for anything, because talking to somebody who's going through it, knowing you went through it, helps. I didn't have that.
That's personally. The best therapy right there.
I didn't have that.
Yep.
But I've known so many people, whether it's on Facebook I met them, whether it's somebody who referred them that I talked to, and they just the smallest things. I am so nauseous and the nausea medicine is not working. Kava works. I eat kava all the time. Or ginger works. But these are things that we know that the medical profession may not know. Or even if they know the ginger, they don't know what kava is.
Yeah.
So it helps. Or eat lemons and salt and pepper. It works. It helps the nausea. But the doctor is only going to give you pills for
prescriptions, yeah.
But there's some things that you can do to stop the cycle of you taking so much medication. And again, I have so many friends. And honestly, I've lost some friends to cancer. And I pray for them every day. And, you know, this particular one is really heartbreaking for me because I talked to her until the day before she passed away. And same thing. She was very brave and fought it to the end. But sometimes she can't sleep. Sometimes the cancer medicine gives you insomnia. Mm-hmm. She'll call me and we'll talk and talk and talk. She'll laugh. And she said, okay, now I'm sleeping. I'm going to bed. That's all she needed. She didn't need anything from me. Sometimes she'll call and she'll tell me what the doctor said. She was like, I don't even understand what they said. I said, okay, I have time. I'll Google it. We'll talk about it. And we talked through it. And that's all she needed. She was not even in the U.S., but she didn't need anything but somebody to talk to. And she found out I had the disease. And somebody told her, perhaps you should reach out to Ida. And she called me. And from that day, we talked every single day, maybe every other day, worst case scenario.
And with your story, if you hadn't done the testing early,
it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been worse.
It could have been a lot worse.
So now, what is the message to society that we live in, especially us? Charity begins at home. We Gambian, Senegambian community or Africans at large, if you're listening there. Because cancer is like when you talk about HIV, people don't even want to go get tested.
No, they don't.
They're so scared of it but it's better for you to know than wait till somebody tells you when it has already taken a whole lot of you before.
And cancer is not something that just stays in one place.
Stays in one
place. It's like wildfire. All over. It's everywhere.
Now, what will be the role? Because you already doing your part. This alone takes bravery and strength. It's more than strength. It's more than courageous to do this, to make sure that at least you put in the face that, hey, I had it and I survived it. And if I can, maybe somebody watching or listening also can survive through this. You just have to persevere and fight through it. But most might not have the strength that you have. What would be the encouragement for the society to go do this testing? What role can we play as a community?
And like I was explaining to you, my experience with just our community and people telling me you need to hide it and so on.
Mm-hmm.
I started this foundation. Nothing big. It's just simply breast cancer awareness, or cancer awareness. And, it's on Facebook, and you can just post messages or email me and ask me stuff.
We need to say the name.
It's called FACIA. It's called Fighting Against Cancer in Africa.
And how do you spell it?
FACIA.
Okay.
But if you Google it, or the website is facia.org.
Okay.
But the actual, if you're on Facebook, is Fighting Against Cancer in Africa.
Okay.
And it's my dream for it is to get to where more and more people are aware of this. Yeah. If I have to go speak to somebody, if I have to, and I want it predominantly in Banjul and Senegal, because there are so many people who don't know.
Yeah.
I did a program in Banjul in was it 2014, I think.
Was it the Gemini cultural?
The Gemini cultural and FACIA.
Yes.
It was mostly for cancer awareness, and Gemini is a really good friend of mine who volunteered his services and did the fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had just cancer awareness, and I spoke to people, and the reason why I did that was I want people to know that you can survive it, but you cannot survive it if you don't go see a doctor.
Yes.
You have to go. And most of us, I found out, a lot of Africans and a lot of Gambians, we're so busy working. We have insurance.
Yeah.
We're so busy working. We don't use it.
Do their physical or test.
We don't do it. We only go when we get the flu.
Yeah.
Or when something is terribly wrong. You have the insurance, you're paying for it, use it.
Yes.
And you guys are the worst.
Men.
Yeah.
The men are the worst.
Because we think that we're Superman.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yes.
They never go to the doctor.
No.
They have insurance. Never, ever, ever go to the doctor.
Yeah.
But then when it happens and something happens, oh my God, it's really bad. But we could have found out 6 months ago.
Exactly.
And most of the times the doctor would tell you, had you just came 2 months earlier. And what were you doing 2 months earlier?
Yeah.
Working. Trying to chase something that, if you're not here, it's still going to keep moving. So take the time to go see a doctor and take care of yourself. And if you know somebody who, just like I was talking about Felida, had I not told her, had I been that person who doesn't say anything, I may not be here today.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I mean, it's very emotional, with everything that you're saying, because I can relate.
You have a personal story.
My own sister had to go through this journey also. Yeah. And there were times that we didn't think she was going to make it.
Yeah.
Chemo was just a beast.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
yes, it is.
But she had my mom over there for that mental support, to be strong. Yeah. And thank God she made it. And just like you were saying now, she's not hiding it anymore.
No, you shouldn't.
So, right now she's actually advising somebody now who's going through it.
Absolutely.
So Absolutely. I think that our society, if we start opening up a little bit, this will not be as bad as it is, because I mean a lot of people have already gone.
Yes.
And
yes, too many people.
And going back home, which is another story, is just that, like it is here, you go to the doctor, the first thing they'll ask you, do you have a family history of this or family history of that?
Yeah.
But back home, we don't know that, No. We don't know whether any of our family members have died, because of cancer, because of HIV, because of this, because of that. We don't know, because of this culture that we have of hiding these things.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time now,
Not only hiding, but we don't even do our checkups.
Exactly.
We do not.
And we don't have the data out there also, that will kind of show that, your family, there's a history of this or that.
Well,
we don't know.
You're absolutely right. And back to my story. So and not to cut you off, but
Right.
I just want to emphasize on what you're saying, is that so after I got mine, I decided to, because to me, I'm like, and you're right, the doctor asked you, do you have family members?
Yes.
No, I don't. Nobody that I know of. Of course, I know my mom's side of the family more than I do my dad's side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, no, nobody in my mom's side of the family has it. So then I start thinking. I said, well, let me ask. So I asked my dad. And he says, Ida, you do realize that's what killed my sister.
Oh.
Stop saying that.
You didn't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So this
Not just-
goes back to the issue of not asking.
Exactly. Not just that. 2 of his sisters died from that. And then my cousin, which is that sister's daughter, died from breast cancer. Nowhere in the family has I ever heard that.
So it's obviously in your family.
It is. But the reason why he even told me was that I did the test. And you can trace the genes that it come,
Yes.
the BRCA test like we were talking about.
Yes.
And because I need to know. Because if I have a child,
Yes.
if it's in my family, I need to know how to protect that little girl.
It can save the future generation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I did the test, and you know they do genetics is impressive, but they tell you what side of the family it's on,
Yes.
and it was on my dad's side of the family. So I called my dad, and I asked, and he started telling me these things. I'm like,
Yes.
now it makes sense. So my next consultation, I asked the doctor, I said, can I get the form that I filled out because it was totally wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because we don't know. And
Well-
he started laughing. He said, so what did you find out? And I told him, he said, you know, had we known this, we didn't even need to take the test.
But you know, she has raised a very important point that it just clicked now. Just ding on me. Every time you go to your physical, the doctors will give you that form where it will ask you,
Yes, sir.
did your father has this?
Yes.
Did your mom?
That's
your
the
family
reason.
member?
Yes, there's
And
a
we
reason.
always go and check no without knowing.
There's a reason,
Yeah.
but
And
see,
we always check no without knowing.
That's because we don't communicate these things.
That's the
no,
thing.
but think about it. Think about it. Your family.
Yeah.
Either your mom has high blood pressure,
Yes.
or your dad has diabetes,
Yes.
or your auntie has high blood pressure,
Yes.
but we don't say anything.
No.
Same thing with you. Same thing.
My mom eventually passed away because of that. High blood pressure.
See, if you don't tell the doctor that, they're not going to know to screen you or
Yes.
start taking precautions
Yes.
for you
Mm-hmm.
because that's your mom.
Yep.
So same thing with you. If you have anybody in your family that has it, if you have a history has a crazy way of repeating itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you don't tell the doctor, they don't know to look for it
Wow.
because they just feel like, oh, check, nobody has it, so they don't need to look.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the doctors are not in the business of digging into your family.
No,
you
they're
have to tell them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's full disclosure or nothing.
Yes. Correct.
So if you don't tell them, they don't know.
But I think we'll just take this opportunity right now to all of those people who are watching.
Yeah.
If you have your parents living, you know,
Ask.
please talk to them.
Even if they're not,
Yes.
find out from family
Find
members,
out, you know, please,
Ask.
please find out, you know, what killed your grandpa, you know, your aunt, you know, whoever it is.
Now
you know.
I know.
Just
There
try
were
to
so
find
many
out,
people in my
because-
family who died of cancer, and I didn't even know this.
Exactly, because it's not just for you.
Yeah.
It can save your kids.
Absolutely.
It can save somebody in the extended family.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
So these are all things that we
Absolutely.
need to start
And
communicating.
just like you said with the HIV and the cancer, diabetes used to be like that way back
Yeah.
when.
Yes.
High blood pressure used to be like that.
Yes.
People were hiding it. Now
Yes.
everybody got diabetes.
Oh yeah,
especially
Everybody has because they know it's manageable. So cancer's gonna get there.
That's what
It's
I'm
gonna get it is. It's gonna get there because they're gonna realize, okay, maybe it's not so foreign after all. It's gonna get there. But it starts with one person pushing the envelope. And like I was telling you about the Facebook thing, I have people that I don't know that would just send me a message and say, I just got my diagnosis today. And I don't know who to talk to. It's happened.
I think we need to tag that.
And
to
we
the
become
Gambia side.
and
Yes.
the few,
We
it's
will
not
tag
very
it,
many,
yes.
but the few that have reached out, we've become really good friends.
Yeah, we have to tag it.
And I tell them all the time, you need to reach out to somebody else you know is going through this.
Very
I want
cool.
it to be a chain reaction.
Yes.
I decided to tell my story. I may not know that person. And again, if you want to call me and talk to me about it, or you don't want to talk to me, send me an email. Go on the Facebook. Send me a message. I would respond.
Now, good. Saying that, I want maybe Pa might know a little bit, and you have lived it. But whenever I hear cancer, the second thing I hear is chemo.
Mm-hmm.
Tell somebody like me and a layman listening, what is chemo like? Is it optional? Some people will tell you, my family has cancer, but they refuse to do chemo. So what is it like and why is it optional?
Well, in America, the doctors cannot force you to do anything.
Okay.
Everything is an option. Surgery is an option. Treatment is an option. They're not going to force you. They're going to give you everything and lay it on the table.
Even if they know that it's the best result for you.
Yeah. And they tell you this is how you can survive it. Mm-hmm. And they never tell you it's going to be 100%. The doctors will never tell you this is going to be 100%, you're going to be fine. Because again, it's called practicing medicine. Mm-hmm. Everybody is different. Chemo is the most prevalent treatment for cancer. Chemo itself is a poison.
Yes.
It really is a poison.
Kills all the white cells in your body.
Yes. That's why it kills every fast-growing cell in your body. Your hair.
And the white cells is what helps you with your immune system.
Immune system. Yes. Your hair is a fast-growing one. Your nails. Yes. Just a lot of things are fast. So it kills everything. My fingers were pitch black. Mm-hmm. My thumb was black. The bottom of my feet were black. I lost my hair, eyebrows, eyelashes, body, everything. You lose it all. And this happens within your first chemo session. 10 days. Everything comes off. That's how fast it is. Some things take a little longer than the rest, but everything is going to fall off. And it's so, and when you're on chemo, you also go through like you said, because your white blood cells, they give you white blood cell boosters called Neulasta. Yes. You get it 2 to 3 days after chemo. All these things have side effects. Chemo's main side effects, the most prevalent ones, is hair loss, fatigue, nausea, skin discoloration. Yes. Your taste changes.
Mood swing?
Mood swings, yeah. A lot of people get mood swings. You get night sweats.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes dry mouth.
Dry mouth. Mm-hmm. There's just so many things. And again, not everybody is going to get this. It is rough on your body. I am stubborn. Most people, including the doctors, my employer, and everybody was like, take some time off of work. The whole time I'm doing chemo for 6 months, I went to work every single day. I schedule my chemos on Friday. So I go in the morning at 8 o'clock. I'm there till 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. I throw up all weekend.
At work?
No, weekend. I don't work weekend. So I throw up all weekend. Monday morning, I have to go back and get the Neulasta shot. Then I go back to work. Besides all of those that you're going through with the chemo, the Neulasta makes your bones hurt. You feel like you have sickle cells, and you feel like every bone in your body hurts.
So it makes you weak.
It hurts. Not just the weak. You already weak from the chemo, but it hurts. And there's nothing really you can do.
So are you giving narcotics for those or what?
You can. They can give you narcotics. See, again, to my series of bad luck, I'm allergic to every single narcotic there is.
Wow.
When I tell you I have bad luck, I do. Every single one of them I'm allergic to them. The only thing I could take was 800 milligrams of ibuprofen. Now, even when it doesn't do anything. Wow. It doesn't.
Wow.
I was allergic to everything. So on top of all of that, and this is why it's optional, because the doctors will tell you it's rough on your body. Now, if you don't have anything to live for, you can decline it. Yeah. You're going to slowly deteriorate, and they can make you comfortable. But if you're young and you're healthy, per se, you can fight it. But you have to be prepared because it is rough. There are some days I cannot get out of bed, and I work from home. There are some days you can't drink water because you can't taste anything. There are some days you can barely walk because everything hurts. And if you're your mom, your wife, you have an employer, you're not afforded those days. Yep. So again, it comes to who you are, not just who you are, but your zeal to fight. Because if you stay in bed and be miserable, it's going to be worse.
Yes.
You go to work, you see somebody who makes you laugh. The day somebody annoys you, your day goes by faster.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's another day that you have to check off. So it still comes back to your zeal to fight, because cancer is rough. Now, you go through the chemo, then you have the surgery. That's another beast on its own.
Yes.
And the awkward, another crazy part that I pray not a lot of people get it, but some people do. Chemo damages different things in your body. I'm one of the very unlucky ones, and I'm going to explain why I am. So after going through the chemo, I'm like, that's done. We did the surgery. Did the surgery, everything was fine. It's like, okay, good. Got my reconstruction, everything was fine. I started having shortness of breath. It's like, okay. But I went to the doctor. Oh, it's just fatigue, it's the cancer. So initially, before I had the cancer part, this is going back 8 years, I developed a condition called catamenial pneumothorax. Your lungs collapse on a whim. You don't have to do anything. They just collapse for no reason. And you shortness of breath, chest pain, can't breathe, hospital. Every time, so from the first time I had the pneumothorax was 10 days after I gave birth to my twins. I've had them 16 times. And every single time, I have to go to the hospital, get a chest tube, inflate my lungs, stay in the hospital for a while, and then come back. So when I got the cancer diagnosis, I'm like, come on, really? Got that. Good thing, during chemo, I always say that the cancer scared the mess out of the pneumothorax because it stopped. So we did the chemo, did the surgery. So I started having the same kind of symptoms. So I'm thinking it's the pneumothorax that's coming back because chemo had stopped. Went to the pulmonologist. Nope, that's not what it is. They couldn't figure it out. Your lungs are not collapsed. We can't figure it out. Okay. They decided. I went back to the oncologist. Nope, we can't figure it out. And I went to my. We're just going to be here all day. So I had a reproductive endocrinologist. I'll explain what that is a little bit, which is who my friend Felida works for. And so same thing. She was like, I don't know what's going on with you. So she, again, made me an appointment to see her doctor, which is the reproductive endocrinologist. He figured it out. That it wasn't the pneumothorax that I was having. That I was actually having heart issues. Yeah.
That was causing the shortness of breath.
That was causing the shortness of breath and the exertion and everything. So I go see a cardiologist. Well, Lord behold, the chemo damaged my heart valves. So on top of everything I'm going through, I got congenital heart disease, CHF. So now, to add to everything, he tells me, well, the only thing I can tell you right now is because the heart muscles don't grow back. We have to put in a pacemaker and a defibrillator. So I have one. It's right here. So on August 23rd, I had to go back in surgery and get a defibrillator and a pacemaker put in. And so again, I started asking, how did this happen? Because I know, remember I told you on July 28th, I went and did the EKG.
Yes.
My heart was fine. So again, 2 years later, what happened? Well, apparently, Adriamycin, which is one of the medicines for chemo, also damages your heart valves. And I was one of those unlucky people. 1 in 10 people, 1 in 1,000 people would get it. Or 1 in, whatever the statistic says, would get it. I was one of those people. So to add to everything, I have to deal with that too. Medication for life. I have to be on medication for life. I have this device. And it changes you. There's certain things you can't do anymore. The things I love to do, I won't be able to do them. Can't play basketball or chase my kids around. There are so many things that you can't do.
Life after chemo is not the same anymore.
No, it's not.
It's not.
No, it is not. It is not at all. And different people experience different things. Everybody has something different. But everybody has a stage they have to go through. It's not over. And some people are unlucky enough, they do all of that, and the cancer still comes back.
You fought through this, came out of it, and hopefully you will inspire and continue to inspire a whole lot after sharing your story or after people watching and listening to this. But this might hit home a little bit. Was there any time when you were going through this, especially during the coma, that you said to yourself, "Oh, it's done. This is it. I might not make it"?
Yes. Yes, there were some days like that.
What pushed you through?
Family and my kids. I didn't have a choice. There were those days where I say, I cannot get out of bed. I cannot do this anymore. My kids, they come and they don't understand. They want mommy to make them something to eat. Mommy, why are you crying? And it's hard to explain to a 5-year-old. I know they understand you're sick, but it's hard to explain what's going on. They're children after all. And so you have to fight to be here for them. Nobody wants to die and leave their kids behind. No. So it's a will that you have. And your family also. Your family also is a big support, because they're not going to let you fall. And no matter how bad it is, they know it's bad, but they're not going to let you fall.
For someone who doesn't have that support group, that backbone, somebody who's by him or herself, living through this and listening to you today, what would be the best advice for him or her? Because what you've went through and came out of is a life-changing story.
Call me. I'll talk to you. You don't have to go through it by yourself. I'm sure there are other people who are willing to help you out. And there are other people who would listen. Mm-hmm. But if you feel like you don't, I'll listen. Because I know what you're going through. But you need to talk to somebody. You cannot go through it alone.
I just have a feeling that, the reason why some people don't make it is because of the loneliness.
I agree.
Not having anybody to talk to.
I agree.
I mean, that stress, that anxiety that they have to go through every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we all parents here. My main focus is, as a parent, just to look at your kids, knowing that you're supposed to get up and make breakfast. You're supposed to work them to the door. Just the little things that you take for granted. That's when it comes knocking that, oh, I wish I could do this. Just like you said, the conversation you have with God, making that barrier.
Man, yes. That is a conversation to have. It's a conversation to have.
And you are keeping it.
Yeah. Your mortality kicks in right there, because you're like, okay.
Yes.
And, my friends would laugh and say that, I cannot even believe you had that conversation. Yes, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that point in time, there was nobody there but me and him.
Yes.
Nobody's there but you and him.
I'm glad he answered your prayers.
I'm glad he did too, and I mean, I'm sure I falter sometimes, but
we all do.
I'm keeping the promise. I really am. I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean,
I really am trying.
Now, just want to talk a little bit about how this thing happens. Nobody knows the cause of cancer. Mm-hmm. None of us do, and that's why there's cancer research out there.
Yes.
Yes. But in terms of genetics, this is something that happens in the genes.
Mm-hmm.
The genes that affect folks with breast cancer is the BRCA1 and the BRCA2.
Yeah.
And this is something that, and the reason why it causes cancer is because of the mutation.
Yes.
And the mutation is when the gene starts behaving abnormally. That's what leads to it. So anybody who has a family member that has ever had any kind of cancer,
please
go get tested for this gene and make sure that you have it. Because if you have it, there's between 40 to 70% chance of you developing cancer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do not play with it. Go and get tested.
And the doctors won't tell you. You have to ask for it.
Exactly.
Ask for it. It's not going to cost you anything but your copay.
Exactly.
Just ask.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I know where we are from, our culture, we would just rather put our heads in the sand and not act like nothing even happens, But it's better to know where you stand.
Yes.
than just being like, okay, I don't want to deal with it because if they tell me this, everybody's going to know my business, and I have to go through.
If you die, everybody's going to know your business anyway.
Exactly.
So I mean, they're going to speculate, or they're going to say, oh, well, this is what killed them. They're going to know your business anyway.
Yeah.
So why not just live through it? If you have the chance to live through it, live through it.
And I'm just really proud of our generation.
Absolutely.
We are taking steps.
Yes.
You go to Facebook, you go to social media.
Yes.
Your sister, Efinyasi,
she's
I
awesome.
just spoke to her yesterday.
She is a phenomenal woman.
She is on it. She's making videos every day.
Yes,
she did an interview with you.
Yes, she did.
So I'm just really proud of what we are doing.
Yes.
Raising awareness.
Yeah.
In all different kind of cancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So especially to me is the people in the healthcare industry.
Yes.
You know a little bit. Not all of us know. I don't know anything about it. I started reading.
And you didn't know anybody who had it before?
No, wow. I sure didn't. But it's the people in the healthcare industry. I don't care what it is. If you can reach to one person. When I started this awareness, I said I just want to save one person's life, and I have to say I did. Yes. And I'm happy about that. Yes. Everything else that comes is an extra. Just talk to one person. The people and there's so many, and I'm so proud of, like you said, our generation. There's so many people who are educated. They are in the healthcare industry, who live abroad. They have these resources. Let's use it. And again, if you know me, so if I may not know the other person, who's going through it. Hey, I'm gonna give you Ida's number, call her.
Yes.
Or if you wanna, these are things that you can do. I heard this thing works. Try it.
Yes.
Something. We need to do something to get people enlightened and get people aware of what's going on. There's, for women especially, there's something very simple. Check your boobies.
Yes.
Do the test. Feel your boobies when you're in the shower.
Self-examination.
It's very easy. If you feel a lump, I don't care what it is. If it's a bump, an itch, anything, go to the doctor.
That's right.
It's better for them to tell you overreacting than to tell you, oh my God, it's too late.
Yes.
You have the insurance, use it.
Or taking locally herbal medicine and stuff.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I ran into a lot of people like that in Gambia. So when I went, I did this thing, and a lot of people came out, which I absolutely loved it.
Yes.
I also talked to then a Minister of Health, and Dr. Savali is another great pioneer in Gambia he's the only oncologist that I know of that's there. And I went to the hospital. It's hard to see people going through it. It's very hard. And you know what they're going through.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do for them.
And they
all the medication I took, I gave it away. Because here's a very interesting thing I found in Gambia is that morphine, which is what they give you here when you're going through surgery or have severe pain, the amount of morphine that we are allowed in the Gambia is only enough for 10 patients. Because it's a regulated
it is controlled
narcotic. It is controlled. It's only enough for 10 people.
For the whole country?
Yes. And it costs so much. So much.
I think the health department needs to do
that
something about
a very select few can afford it.
It's expensive.
10 people. And you go into the hospital and you see people lined up. He even made me sit with him, and he asked the lady, he said, if she doesn't mind if I sit in the console. The lady was like, no. And she came in, and Dr. Samate was like, I'll step outside if you want to take your clothes off. I'll be right back in. And this lady, most people, cancer is on the inside. It doesn't show. When it comes outside, it's really bad. When this woman took her clothes off, I couldn't hold it together. The cancer had spread so bad, it was out of her skin. Her skin was literally rotting. By the time Dr. Samate came in there, I was no good. I was done with the tears and the boo-hooing. And she is in so much pain. She can't talk sometimes because of how much pain that woman is. She passed away. But because, same thing, she said she couldn't afford it. 2, she was referred to a local doctor.
Yeah, to use these herbs.
Yeah, and she was on herbs and all kinds of stuff. And first she thought it was a cyst, like a boil. I thought it was when I had mine.
Yeah, I'm top.
Exactly. That's what a lot of people think. And I mean, it's just... And at that point, there was nothing Dr. Samate could do but to give her medicine. And she couldn't even afford that. She couldn't even afford that. There was no medication we could give her besides ease her pain.
I think, especially for what this podcast stands for, and I respectfully say this to anybody watching or listening to the previous guests. To me personally, this is the most important program that we've had so far. For one, you doing your part, but we have to also gear up towards pushing this message to go out there, because if you can see how people or what people go through because of cancer in this country,
imagine,
and how they suffer, and you're talking about a third world country.
Yeah. And that's how this whole thing started. Because I said, we were talking, I said, I want to go home one day. I said, so if this happened to me when I was there, what would happen? That's how this whole foundation started.
Story. And it's not just the cancer.
No,
yeah,
just
you have
anything.
A lot of things going on inside your body.
Yeah. And to me, I'm like, so if I was there, I know sitting here that I wouldn't survive it.
Even this diabetic stuff that we're talking about is just killing people like
it
every
is.
Day back home.
Because there's no testing and medicine. It's just we so rely on
local medicine.
It doesn't work.
I mean, it's true. The old saying, those things sometimes don't work.
Listen, our moms used to do that. It worked. But you know what? They were not using pesticides.
Yes.
They were not eating like we're eating.
Yes.
They're not worried. They don't have stress like we do. There's a lot of things that contribute to these things. Yes, they were doing it and they survived.
Yes.
But think about it. What was the mortality rate back then?
Yeah.
Today, people are living longer because of medicine. Mm-hmm. God did not give us our knowledge and bring us this far for us to abandon it and go back 100 years.
No.
Let's use it.
Yes.
Use the resources you have. Use the resources you have. And you know, my heart goes out to the people in Gambia. And I wish, and I tell Ife that all the time, I said, there is something that needs to be done. Even if you send one bandage home, it goes a long way.
Well, you already face for it. And I couldn't, if I was to nominate, you'll be part of those that we need to nominate to put a face to this. And eventually, hopefully, whenever you go back home, you will do more, and we'll also be there to support along the way. Because
I hope so.
For the Gambia podcast is geared towards what is helping us, what is helping our society, what is helping the Senegambian community, and especially Gambia. So
yeah, and like, you know, like just like you were saying, for us here to help. I mean, your sister, she started this organization, the Gambian Diaspora Health Initiative, which I am part of, you know, and I'm really proud of that.
Good.
And I am pleading to all the folks here that are in the medical field to try to join that organization.
You don't have to be in the medical field to join.
You don't.
Right.
You can go to CVS and buy 2 bandages and send it.
For everybody.
Everybody can do it.
Let's us join our hands together. Yeah. You know, try to make this a success. Yeah. You know, help our folks back home, because the medical situation back home
is bad.
I mean, it's ridiculous. You know?
Yeah, it is. And I have to plead. And you know, I started and wanted to do so many things with our previous government. It didn't fall through. I did a lot. And I'm not going to sit and go back on that, because it is what it is.
Hopefully this time around.
This time around, I am pleading to the government and pleading to the Minister of Health.
And if things don't work out, the media is
seriously.
Here. Yes. Yeah.
Take it seriously, and we need to bring attention, and we need to focus on a healthy nation.
Yes.
We need to focus on a healthy nation. We cannot go forward if we're not healthy. And I know that the privileged people get, you know, the privileges. It shouldn't be like that.
Yes.
There are people who also are deserving of good healthcare.
You sit back home, they will even take you to Senegal. They don't even trust
I know that. I know that. And we do have some good medical people. We have very educated Gambians.
There used to be time when Senegalese will come to
Gambia for treatment. We have some
now
really good
reverse.
doctors,
So, yeah.
but they're not even doing. They're not empowered to do what they're supposed to do. Let me tell you one thing: the only mammogram machine we have in Gambia was they stopped using that in the United States in 1993. That's the only one we have. Think about how long 1993 is and all the breakthroughs that has happened to 2017. Now they have 3D. They do more things. They can go into your body and find it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. So this healthcare initiative, I hope we bring as much awareness as there is, and we can gather the resources we need to make it work.
Yes.
I am partnering up with anybody, I don't care who it is, anybody who has an audience or is willing to do anything.
Yes.
Anything. Because
It's
I
good
spent
to
a lot of resources with the last government and it didn't work.
Good.
Nothing came of it.
Wow.
I have to say though, I applaud them. The very first cancer walk they had. Granted, I did a lot of work with it. Didn't get any recognition, but I didn't care because we actually had one.
The message was there.
The message was there. You would not believe how many pictures people sent me from that walk and said, "This is your work." I was so happy. I pleaded when I went there. I went to the State House. I talked to the First Lady's permanent secretary. I spoke to her herself, and I have to say, she's a very nice woman. And she listened, whether she used it or not. She gave me the audience I needed, and that's all that mattered. And no matter what it is, somebody listened, and they did that walk, and that day was the proudest moment of my life because somebody listened and did something. So in the future, I am hoping that we can get to a better place, get more awareness out. I want to send out these self-checks, pamphlets, that if I can distribute them to people, just check. If it's a small bump, go see a doctor. Do something, no matter how tiny it is, because you can survive it. Cancer you can survive it if you catch it early.
It's not a death
I'm
sentence
still here.
anymore.
I'm still here. With all the adversity that I faced, I'm still here.
Exactly.
So you can fight it.
Exactly.
It's been a very educative and a humbling experience, and I'm proud to say to our sister that you are a fighter and keep fighting. And all I can say is keep on keeping on.
I'm working on it, and I'm so glad you guys even took this time because like I said, July 19th marked my 4 years.
Wow.
And I'm gonna keep going until I can't go anymore. And I am so glad that you guys are doing what you're doing and bringing awareness, no matter how small it is.
This is the least we can do, but I would just play with you if you can. The Ceesay and the Ndiayes are known for Wolof. So if you can just send a short message to our women, suñ jigéen yi, wax leen lan mooy cancer ci kàddu bu gàtta balaa ñoo tàggatoo ak buñ am rek toxa bu ndaw seen weeni rek ne table.
Déedéet man loolu laa foogoon.
So nga send leen message
bi ma ko amee dama foogoon ne table. Comme ñu dem seet ñu xam ne du tab cancer la. Jigéen moo xam yaramam. Yow yaa xam sa yaram. Su la dara méttee yaa ko xam. Su fa dara nekkutoon lu fa nekk tey lu fa nekkutoon démb yaa ko xam. Bu ko just xool rek nga ignore ko. Demal nga seeti docteur. Dëgg la ñun jigéen lañ busy. Ñu ngi liggéey ñu ngi sëy ñu ngi tooga ñu ngi toppatoo suñ doom yi amuñ jot pour suñ bopp. But soo fi nekkutee sa doom yi dañoo màgga without yow. Sa jëkkër dina move on without yow. So yow yaa am pour xeexal sa boppa yow yaa am pour toppatoo sa boppa ñun jigéen ñi dañoo toppatoo daw ba sonna te duñ toog seet suñ boppa dañoo yóbbu suñ doom yi si docteur bi buñ feebaree jëkkër bi nga enu ko yóbbu ci docteur bi bu feebaree te yow boo feebaree nga ne xaaral ma naan paracetamol dem tëddi. We have to do better. Dañ am pour jóg si suñ boppa num ndaw demal nga seet te du cancer si ween bi rek cancer si everywhere. Nit ñi dañoo am ovarian cancer duñ ko xam. Nga gis ñu ngeen baalal ma si li ma koy waxee nga gis sa period for a long period of time nga ne yëfi jigéen la it's not normal. Demal nga seet ko. sa naxa bi di metti on ko you know for a long time ay fi jigéen la déedéet demal nga seet there's so many things that can go wrong cancer is nekk na loo xam ne sa yaram bi la nekk waaye danga koo gis si biti danga ko dee feel si biti daf laa won ne am na lu fa nekk lu fa war a toon a nekk so demal nga seet ko boo ko teelee jàppare di nga ko dunda demal nga seet ko no matter how small num ndaw na man bëgg naa docteur bi wax ma ne da nga bari affaire dara jotu la moo ma gënal ñu ne I'm so sorry
yeah
$20 bi nga dem fay si sa copay $50 bi nga fay si sa copay suba soo duggee si grocery store bi nga spend
oh yeah yaa ngi spend more than that on gas alone
loolu laa lay wax nii soo demal nga jël xaalis boobu nga fay docteur bi nga dem nga gis ko sa liggéeykaay ne leen I need this time off dama am pour dem si docteur parce que tey kaa moo ne liggéey bu nekk Amérique ak fu mu munti doon bés boo deeyee suba ñu replace la
oh yeah
bés boo deeyee suba ñu replace la su fekkee ne ñëw nañ sa dëj bi sax nga kontaan
soo feebaree lu yàgg sax
exactly so I don't care where you work how high you are up there if you're not there soo fa nekkutee dinañ jël keneen jox ko sa place so toppatool sa boppa you matter and you should put yourself first.
Just like I always say, the most important person in your life is you. Right. There's nobody else more important than you are.
Nope.
And
myself and I.
And
that's right.
For all of us out there, especially my fellow men, let us respect our yearly. Let us respect our yearly physicals.
No, everybody.
It is good.
Every single body. Everybody, some brothers.
It's just the way we are. It's just the way we are.
Free for you. Why not use it? You got it.
They have insurance, why
and
they won't
taking
use
it
it
out of your check. So why not use
you know?
Exactly.
So
just use it.
Yeah.
The insurance company is being paid. So why don't you use it? That's what it's for.
Well,
now you get penalized in the United States if you don't have it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Why not use it?
Use it or lose it.
Exactly. Use it.
So, well, it's just like suma mbokk yi ñu ko waxee ñu ne naka fagaru moo gën faju.
Yeah, well, all day.
Wow.
All day.
My second bi la nga
Moom a gën a dégg That is true.
So, well, I wish we can continue this conversation. It's been fun. It's been emotional, you know.
And
educative, you know. But we're gonna have to cut it short. Ida is our sister, you know. She's been really nice, you know, opening her house for us to come in, you know, and talk to her about this disease that, I mean, it can be very private for some people.
Yes.
You know, some people may not want to talk about these things.
That's true.
You know, but you want to put a face to it. You know, you want to raise that awareness. You know, and you have this Facebook page going on. You know, the fighting against cancer in Africa.